6 inches is too much metal, in my opinion, to have a flat bend. I would take this brake buddy right here and roll it on that, and that would give it this little detail right here. This little detail stiffens it up, so you're not going to have bubbles throughout it. Like I said, it's getting covered up by a gutter, so hopefully any bubbles are covered up, or they will be for the most part, and we're going to install it as flat as we can. Part of that, installing it flat, has to do with how good of a job the framer did, how straight, and in this way and that way, how straight his fascia metal, or his fascia board is installed. So if you see wrinkly metal on some houses, it's not always the cider's fault. Quite often the framers did not install their fascia straight. Now the cider could cut down his pieces if the fascia is really crooked. Try cut down your pieces so that if there's a wicked whip in the fascia, put a seam in your metal right there, and that'll help it out a little bit. But it's not going to solve all your problems, and the cider's not going to want to install what do you install 5-foot pieces of fascia metal, have a bunch of seams? That's not going to look good either. So as much as I can, I try to stick with a 10-foot piece of metal. My brake will do, like I've said before, my brake will bend up to a 12-foot 6 piece. I just find that 12-foot 6 is a little bit too long for me, just because of what I was talking about. You have too much variations in the framing, and the fascia still just really starts to bend. Alright, that's good enough. And we're going to do the same thing we did before. I'm going to add those two pieces together and give myself a smaller piece to cut off. Having the metal way out here and trying to cut it is kind of a bear anyways. So just like we did on the gable. And this one, I think I'm just gonna go, I'll go a little big with it even. That way I can just run the second piece of metal, I'll just cut it as well. So there we are. And if I set those stoppers at well, we're at 7.5 overall, so that's 15 for 2 pieces, so that's 13.5, and let's go like 13 3/4. That way I cut off basically a 1/4 inch of the last piece, of the second piece I should say. So I gotta figure this all out again. Okay, so we had 6 inches, 7.5 is 15. 15, yeah, 15 minus 1.5 inches is 13.5. Again, we'll just cut off 1/4 inch of that second piece. There we go. And this is a place where, instead of doing that, rib that I showed with the brake buddy, if you did a hem on the bottom bend of this metal, it would actually, believe it or not, it actually helps the face of the metal from rippling as well. So that's a time when doing a hem on the bottom leg actually helps out quite a bit. It even helps as well with the rippling, even if you do have a shadow board or a shadow bend at the top. So, if you want to put in the extra time on something like this and do a hem on the bottom bend, go for it. It's the same process. It's the same process you saw me use for bending the hem for those boxes. So it's the same process. You bend the thing up. You got to leave the 1/2 inch in, or you can go 3/4 if you want. If you go 3/4, then you're likely to be nailing through 2 layers of metal, unless you pre-drill your holes. It's just a little tougher to nail through 2 layers, obviously. If you go 1/2 inch with your hem, then most likely you'll be able to miss that second layer underneath. Just leave that there for now. I usually don't leave my cutoff wheel like that because sometimes it'll end up just rolling off the end. This garage is sloped that way, so it stays. I think the other brand of metal brakes that I know of is, I think it's called Van Mark. I think it's like VAAN-MARK maybe. Not really certain. Not really certain on that. Their metal brakes seem to be pretty good quality. I've been happy with Tapco. I especially like the Pro 19 because you can get the metal further in than I used to have a 16, I think, and you can't get the metal in as far if you got to cut a big piece. Then you have a lot hanging out, like I was talking about, and it tends to ripple on the edge. So, Pro 19, I've been really happy with. So there we go. We got all our pieces ripped down, and just like I did on the other thing. I got one extra strip. I'm just gonna bend it. I'll have one extra piece of metal. All right, so we have a 7.5 overall, which means we need to set this at 6-inch bend. Six inches right there. And 6 inches right there. So we'll end up with 15 pieces of flat metal. This one is easy peasy, because there's no shadow bend. Just clip it in there, zip that off, and bend it up. Try to hit that 90, and that's it. This one's done. So that easy. Same thing here. This one I made a little big on purpose, so I'm going to rip off a little bit. That way we have a consistent size on that bottom leg. The gables, you saw me check every one and just assure that it was the 1 9/16. But that's just as easy to do it like that. And that way I know it's not going to end up short, which if it ends up short, it's kind of a bummer, because then you're spending a lot of time trying to pull it out and get it just right. One thing I think I didn't mention this time, I usually mention about that Pro cutoff wheel, is the way that I'm holding it. A lot of these things there's skills. There's reasons why they call this skilled trades, okay? Even using this as a skill I had to develop. I'm holding down on this front edge and this back edge. Otherwise, what happens is this thing, it tends to like take off. The next thing you know, down the end, it's all ripply, and you have only like a 3/4 inch cutoff. So I'm holding down on this leading edge right there and back here, more so here, that way it can't derail and go that way. So that's one more skill. You know, if you go on Craigslist, they say skilled trades for available jobs. And yeah, it took me a good many years to get the hang of some of these things. Even being careful with this metal so you don't end up putting a little kink in it. Holding, another thing is the way you hold that. The way you hold that piece that's bent flat, you have to be careful how you hold those, because if you hold it I'll show you a certain way. You'll actually crease it because it doesn't have enough strength to be just handled all willy-nilly. So if I hold it this way, it's fine. If I flip it over the other way, and I only hold it on one point, it's going to crease that bottom leg. So yeah, I was showing you how if I hold that piece wrong and I just hold it from the middle, it'll crease it. I don't know if I should elaborate much on it, but I think the reason why is if you hold it there, right now it's fixed there between there and there, and this top is trying to stretch out, so it's got plenty of strength that way. You flip it over, now the material can just bunch up right there. And that's what happens. It will make a little crease, it'll make a little V. Make a little V like that, and a little crease that comes up like that. If you try to hold a flat bend just from the middle. So you need to really be careful how you handle it. Spread your hands nice and wide, and try not to exert too much force on one particular point. That's what I was trying to say earlier. I should really get my batteries charging, but I'm not really probably going to work long enough today to run all 6 batteries dead. I'm recording these videos in the highest resolution possible so that even if it's not uploaded the best resolution, I'll always have it. Okay, we got 5 more pieces to make, and then we got to make our flat boxes and our other boxes. I think that's it. I don't think this piece is big enough to do anything with, so this is also going to go in the garbage. With metal bending, it's the same concept with those drop catchers that I bent. You probably noticed how you might not have noticed how I put it against the wall. So I was trying to stretch it out. The material is not trying to bunch. Same way I handle that. Mostly I just spread my hands nice and wide. That way, like I said, I'm not putting too much force on one place. But if I have to, I know how to handle it from a single point. We're closing in on it, guys. Pretty nice to use those bumpers once you get used to them think they speed up the process quite a bit. It's either that or you could measure each one and mark each one individually and then fight to get it right on your marks. Ooh. As much as I can, I try not to fight with things. Get our one extra piece of flat metal. Hopefully we don't need it. Sometimes you'll have a piece of metal blow off the staging like I did on the last house. Or you accidentally ding one or something. So, got plenty of stuff. Take me about 30 seconds to bend. One more. There we are. That's all the flat metals. Okay, and we got 15 of those guys. Got the drop catchers, got those, and I was just showing you how to do that. And now I just need the boxes. I need one flat box. I need 2 of the other kind. Then I'm done. Put the brake away. Maybe take a lunch break. See what we have. Time is it, guys? Time is it? Woo! There we go. 11:35, right on time. Okay. This one, I'll go the 10.5 tall. If I go right around there, that's about good. It's gonna be too big no matter what. So. And we'll go the 1.5 inches. A little bit strong on the 1.5 inches. This is for the back corner where that roof edge ends. That one's just like that. I overbent that a little bit, but that's okay. And now we have we did 22 and 13. I know 13 is too big, but that's alright. We can cut it down when we're up there. 22 and 13 is 35 overall. So we need a 70-inch piece of metal. Oop, that thing's tipping right up. 70-inch. That'll get both the boxes. And that thing cuts 2 inches this way, so I'll go 72. For some reason, the way it sits on this, it cuts 2 inches off. And then on this this thing, it cuts 1.5 inches. I don't know. I haven't really looked into that much. Alright, so I wanted to go 16 inches tall. So I'm just going to set it right at 16. Once again, right at 16. And clamp it there, cut it, and bend it. It doesn't have to be exact, because we have plenty of height. At least I hope we do. I never even went up there to check it. Looking good. Now we have one with the long leg to the right, and we have one with the long leg to the left. So what I'm going to do is make mirror images. So you had 22 inches, close enough. And then right here, I'm going to go 13. And I'm going to go 13 again, because I'm making a mirror image. And then the last bit should be 22 inches left. Pretty close. Like I said, there's plenty of extra material there, so if I'm off a little bit, even 1 inch, as long as this measurement is good, or too big, which it is, then it's going to be just fine. Usually I go right on with this return metal. I go with the exact measurement. That way I don't have to knife it again, or cut it again rather. Okay. And I'm going to cut this little bit, not at a 90, and then about a 45 right there. Now, this one, because this leg is so long, I can't go in on this side of the brake. I have to walk down to this side of the brake. This is the last couple of things we're doing, guys. These are the last 2 boxes, and we'll have all the metal bent for this entire house. As always, I'll be putting links in the description, if I can figure out how to put them in the description. Right now I have to, the only thing I know how to do is pin a comment. So you see how we got that? 45 there. This will go. So yeah, I'm putting links and pinned comments, but eventually I'll probably figure out how to put a link in the description, or maybe even in the video. So this box is going to go right there, and I'll show you how to install it when I get up there. This thing here, it got bent a little bit, cattywampus, so I'll probably give that a little tap with my hammer and make that a little bit tighter, but it's going to look great. Cattywampus. Okay, now this one has a long leg on the other side. I'm still going to put my 45 the same way, just because I can get my snips tight this way, and I can't get them so tight if I go that way. I don't know if you can see that, but the thickness of the blade actually holds it away. So I like to put them the same way. And then right here, like I said, this box gets bent from this side, because if I try to do it over there, this leg would be too long, it wouldn't fit. So right there, clamp it, and now this time I'm going to pinch that so that hopefully it clears by there. There we go. That's better. Okay guys and gals, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed it, like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.